Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive question from Yuval Noah Harari's incredible book, Sapiens. How in the world did one type of ape, an animal that was once no more important than a jellyfish, become the absolute ruler of planet Earth? Well, the answer is a revolution, but probably not the kind you're picturing.
You see, for almost all of our history, we were just another animal milling about. But then, around 70,000 years ago, something inside our heads just clicked, and that switch sent Homo sapiens on a journey to take over the entire globe. So what was our secret? What was the ace up our sleeve?
To really get our rise to power, you first have to wrap your head around a pretty wild fact. For most of history, we weren't the only humans on the block. Not even close. Earth was home to several human species, all living at the same time. It was a lot more crowded out there than you'd think.
For instance, over in the chilly landscapes of Europe and Asia, you had our most famous relatives, the Neanderthals. These guys were stockier, more muscular, better built for the cold, and get this, their brains were even a little bit larger than ours.
And while they were around, out in Asia, you had Homo erectus, the upright man. And these humans were the ultimate survivors. They managed to hang on for almost 2 million years. I mean, that's a record our own species will be incredibly lucky to even get close to.
And the list goes on. On an island in Indonesia, there was a tiny human species we nicknamed hobbits. From a single cave in Siberia, we discovered the mysterious Denisovans. The planet was literally a patchwork of different kinds of humans.
So here's the key takeaway from all this. For 2 million years, all of these human species, including our own early ancestors, were pretty minor players in the grand scheme of things. We were stuck somewhere in the middle of the food chain. We hunted small stuff, and we got hunted by the big predators. We were, to put it bluntly, totally unremarkable.
But then, about 70,000 years ago, everything changed. Homo sapiens started to spread out from Africa and just took over. And this wasn't a conquest based on brute strength or bigger muscles. It was a revolution that happened entirely inside the mind.
Harari calls this the cognitive revolution. And the leading theory is that some random, accidental genetic mutation rewired the sapiens' brain. Now, this didn't just make us a little bit smarter. No, it gave us a completely new, incredibly powerful kind of language.
And this is the game-changing difference. See, a monkey can shout to its friends, "Hey, look out, a lion." That's a statement about something real, right here, right now. But only a sapiens could say, "The lion is the guardian spirit of our tribe." Our new language wasn't just for talking about reality, it was for creating brand new realities, all inside our collective imagination.
And this ability to talk about things that aren't physically real, to speak about fictions, that was our species' secret weapon. It was the master key that unlocked cooperation on a scale that nature had never, ever seen before.
You see, for most social animals, there's a natural limit to how big a group can get. For our chimpanzee cousins, and probably for early humans too, that magic number is about 150. Any bigger than that, and you just can't know everyone personally, you can't keep track of the gossip, and the whole social order starts to fall apart.
But our new language? It let us shatter that limit. With a shared story, a common belief in a tribal spirit or a nation or a god or even in human rights, sapiens could band together and cooperate with amazing flexibility in massive numbers. Suddenly, millions of complete strangers could all work together towards a single goal, all because they believed in the same story.
Okay, let's look at how this works in our world today. Harari uses the example of the car company Peugeot. You can go and touch a Peugeot car. You can walk through one of their factories. You can shake hands with an employee. But try to point to the company itself. I mean, where actually is it?
The company isn't a physical thing. It's what lawyers call a legal fiction. It only exists as a story that we all agree to believe in, a story written down in our law books that gives it the power to own things and hire people. And this is a perfect illustration of our unique human power to create and live in a world of shared, imagined realities.
So, this storytelling superpower brings us right back to that original question. What happened when sapiens, armed with all their shared fictions, ran into their cousins, the Neanderthals?
Well, it meant that it wasn't a fair fight. Not at all. It wasn't a contest of who was stronger one-on-one. It was a showdown between a small family-based band of Neanderthals and a huge coordinated army of hundreds of sapiens, all united by a common story and capable of some seriously complex planning.
So, what happened to them? The main idea is the replacement theory. We basically just outcompeted them for food and land, or maybe even wiped them out directly.
But the story has a bit of a twist. Modern DNA evidence shows that sapiens did interbreed a little with Neanderthals and Denisovans. So it was less of a total replacement and more of a conquest, with just a little bit of mixing in.
All right, so Sapiens 1, we took over the whole planet. But what was life actually like for our hunter-gatherer ancestors? You know that classic image of a life that was short, nasty, and brutish? Well, it might be totally wrong.
Yeah, contrary to that myth of a constant, miserable struggle to find food, the evidence suggests our forager ancestors might have actually worked less than a lot of us do today. Some scholars even call them the original affluent society, because it seems they could get everything they needed with a lot less effort than the farmers and factory workers who came much later.
They had a much more diverse and nutritious diet than the first farmers, which actually made them taller and healthier. And since they lived in small, mobile bands, they were way less likely to get hit by the big epidemics that would later sweep through crowded cities.
But, and this is a huge but, we shouldn't get too romantic about it. Life was also incredibly fragile and often really cruel. Child mortality was just devastatingly high, starvation was a constant threat, and violence could be sudden and brutal. Life was always balanced on a knife's edge.
And this brings us right back to the beginning. Because that power, the power of fiction, that let sapiens beat the Neanderthals, it didn't just vanish. It became the very foundation of the world that all of us live in right now.
The bottom line is that our ability to create these fictions just got stronger and stronger over time. Our laws, our money, our nations, our corporations, not one of these things is a physical object. They're all stories, complex stories that we all agree to live by. They are an imagined reality that we've built right on top of the physical one.
So this incredible, unique power to create and believe in fictions allowed a single, not-so-impressive ape to completely conquer the world. But Harari leaves us with this final, haunting thought. We used our imagined realities to gain unbelievable power. But did any of it actually make us any happier? Now that just might be the most important question of all.